it is I would just go to the opposite perspective. So if I'm trying to focus on how I'm selling a customer, then I would go look at how are we being sold? Whatever we're being sold on, what do we not like whenever we get sold? How is that similar to what our customers feel?
Welcome to the Howie and Beastmode podcast, where we discuss all things business, including growth, strategy, and execution, as well as personal and professional development. Let's join Howie and Beastmode in conversation.
I personally, you asked me, do I really want recognition? And I think I do privately.
It seemed like it was more from you want the recognition, but it needs to be from an individual or individuals that you value their response.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a nice statement. People where I know it's true. I'm kind of skeptical because I've been in sales for 20 years, more than 20 years. So I'm a little bit like, I can really smell fake compliments and flattery.
Yeah.
So if I can smell past that and that it's real, number one, and number two, from somebody, I think you're not wrong. I have never said that out loud or thought it before that I can remember, but yeah, people that I value, people that I trust, and then also a context that I trust instead of just like flattering me. Like I have a friend of mine who's kind of like just super positive.
Yeah.
So kind of slings a lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, that's cool, but somebody who really thought about it
yeah,
is a little better. Yeah.
Somebody who'll give you bad criticism or good criticism on areas that you weren't necessarily perfect on. Whenever they praise you, you're like, oh man, okay, good.
Yeah, that's kind of good.
Yeah.
But what I'm more afraid of as far as invisibility is like when I'm trying to solve a problem and the problem, I have a blocker, something in the way of that. I had that happen at work today and people were really nice. I'm not saying anybody at work was unkind, but I ran into this thing where I had this idea of like, if I had these two data sources in one resource, then sales could look at those and cross-reference some really cool opportunities. But unfortunately, we don't have one of those resources for about 2 more weeks. So they're only going to give me one resource right now. And I'm like, well, with one resource, it's kind of useful, but like if I had both on the same screen, I'd have 2 data points telling me something instead of one. So like, like I said, it was more of a like an operational blocker, not like a human blocker. But yeah, so what I'm more afraid of as far as invisibility is not so much myself, but it's more like something I'm trying to accomplish being invisible or blocked or misunderstood.
Yeah.
And also I have terrible, you know what, I don't want to bag on myself too much. So I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I don't have ideal social timing, to be honest. I don't. I know it's a weakness of mine. Okay. Meaning I can have an idea 1 minute and immediately try to implement it or immediately try to justify it and get it done and not give anybody the time to come to the same conclusion and let it be multiple people's ideas and have a collaboration consensus. I'll just go for it. And it's like, historically, I look back, by the way, I know this is off topic, but I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
And actually, I'm illustrating my weakness as I speak this, by the way.
Okay.
It's actually perfect illustration. It's not really the right timing for this. But that I just have the issue where it's like, and maybe it's a little bit ADD, and I do have a lot of experience. So I look back and I say, yeah, I was right, but it was the wrong timing. Or yeah, I was right, but I had no consensus. I had nobody else on my side. It was just me, right? Like at my company right now, I'm new. So I don't have a lot of I don't have years of credibility that they can trust. So it's better if I use a consensus approach. So anyway, I don't care. Personally, I don't mind being invisible too much, but I do mind if the ideas are invisible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? How do you feel?
So for me,
I actually want to know this myself for you. I want to get in your head a little bit.
And see, I can go back and forth. So as an Enneagram 8, I'm used to being out ahead. Yeah. And so I don't I don't particularly care to, and it's not that, and again, it doesn't have to be negative. A lot of times this is taken negative. I don't really care if people are with me, because a lot of times I'm going first. I'm trailblazing, I'm cutting down, I'm taking the brunt, I'm taking the beating to make sure others can come with me.
I wonder if I'm a wing 8.
Could be.
Because I have
Yeah.
a teeny bit of that.
Yeah. And so it's one of those that doesn't matter. Now, there, when I'm unhealthy, I will look back and be like, you need to be grateful for, and so that I am looking for that, but again, that's really in my unhealthy state whenever I'm not focused on, hey, you're doing this for the greater good of everyone else, not for you to be good. You're doing it for others.
Bottom line is, do you kind of like to be recognized?
Not particularly. No, not when I'm healthy. Again, when I'm healthy, the answer is no. Because again, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for you. But when I'm unhealthy, then it's the other way around. When I'm unhealthy, then it's the other way around. I'm focused on me.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
I'm an introvert, but I like to be the center of attention, but not necessarily for the credit purposes. When I say center of attention, I like to public speak. I like to preach. I like to be in front of crowds. I only do that if I'm prepared and if I'm interested in something.
Right.
But if I'm interested in the topic and I'm very well prepared, I love to move people, love to inspire and teach people in a topic. But do I care about recognition up there? Not really.
See, and it makes sense because there's not a lot of follow-up. If you're public speaking, you're up at the front, you're all by yourself, you're talking to a group of people, and then whenever you're done, you walk off.
I walk off. Bye.
So there's no like having a conversation, hey, that was great. Hey, that stunk, Yeah,
whereas the extrovert would probably be like,
a teacher.
Hey, I got to public speak and I want to go talk to everybody now, and I want to like get pats on the back. With me, I want to run off the stage.
Yeah. Whereas like a teacher's looking to, like, you're having a follow-up conversation. Like you say something and then somebody has a rebuttal. It's totally different.
No, I try to make it so simple and so compelling that they get it from the stage. And not that I speak a lot. I actually I haven't spoken in quite some time.
Yes.
So
really the topic, how we're going about this is that invisibility, which is what we're really kind of focusing in on tonight. If you feel invisible or if you are invisible, it has no bearings on your value on a scale of 0 to 10. That's what we're really focusing on, because again, right now culture is saying, hey, you need to get as many followers as you can. Hey, you need to get as many likes as you can. Hey, if your business doesn't have, X, Y, and Z, on social media, if it doesn't have this, then you have no value. That's what culture, that's what society is telling us. And we're coming against that by saying you have value. And whether you have one follower and it's your grandma, or whether you have, 15 million and you don't know any of them, or you paid for them, because there's a lot of organizations that do that.
I think, it's, I think people might have their worth external to their body and their brain. Like, I think people might want to, so let's, if you take this at an individual level, at a business level, it's kind of different. But if you take it at an individual level, if people need a lot of recognition, then, or they feel invisible, then that could be a sign that they have an area of unhealthiness. That's okay. Agree. I have about 5 that I've identified.
Yeah.
I could easily spit out about 3 for y'all. Maybe sometime we'll do a podcast about areas that Howie's unhealthy. But I can come up with 3 in moments, and I could dig for those last 2 and get you to 5 in a few minutes, probably, with where I'm unhealthy. So what I'm about to say and what I just said doesn't dismiss anybody's feelings about this. But yeah, if you kind of have an area that you feel like you're invisible or you're not recognized, I feel like that's not healthy for you. And since you don't know Beastmode and I, we can just tell you as an outsider, and it can be a safe thing for you to hear, right? It's not personal because we're speaking to a lot of people right now, not just you. But
Yeah.
maybe give that some thought and some prayer, journal that, think about why that is that you need that. If you're just trying to accomplish things and you feel invisible, okay, that's interesting, because you might see like the company or somebody or whatever is about to run into a wall and you're trying to stop it. And
Yeah.
so not feeling heard in that case could feel very frustrating.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
just like you feel invisible because you're not recognized, then yeah, there's a lot we could say about that. But one of them is that you probably have some areas that could use some, maybe, some healing inside.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, and I want to go more your direction, but to kind of encapsulate what we've been talking about. So Andy Stanley has a quote that says, "Do for one what you want to do for many."
Hmm.
And so if you want to talk to 1,000 people, then talk to one. If you want to, you know, have a group of followers like Gary Vee does, then start with one. It doesn't matter. And so again, you're pouring into that one person. They get all 1,000% of what you got.
Yeah.
And if as you're cultivating and as you're providing value to that one person, that person's going to tell another person, and it just happens. But the goal should never be recognition in that case. It should just be providing value, which is what we're getting at. Now, when
Yeah.
you shift over and you start talking about like, hey, maybe I feel invisible at work. I've got great ideas. I've tried to share them, but I'm not moving the needle. I feel invisible. And so because of that, now I feel like I provide no value. When obviously you do, because you're employed and things like that. But if they're constantly taking another team member's ideas, they're not taking yours, which I know this may spur a couple of comments from you, Howie, or a couple of memories maybe. Then what happens then? How do you battle that invisibility?
Yeah. Well, I really have a lot of compassion for people. I think that happens in school, especially like in high school and earlier. That probably happens a ton, where there's very unfair treatment. So maybe people carry some of those pains forward, or parents or something, or family might not give enough recognition. Those kinds of things could be happening for people and carrying those pains forward. But then at work, you actually don't lose, even when you think you're invisible. If you present a situation, if you present facts and information and ideas about an opportunity or a risk that you see at work, and if they don't take your idea, you actually still win, right? Let's unpack for you guys what happens to this in the psychology of a manager or an executive who hears your ideas. Okay, let's assume you come with, let's assume you come a little bit prepared, maybe one page little typed up briefing for them, right? Or an email for them or something, right? But instead of you just talking off the top of your head, maybe you're a tiny bit prepared, okay? And then you think about it, you kind of rehearse it a little bit, and then you bring it to this manager or this executive with your idea. You say, I think we're having a problem with this. It's costing us money. And here's why, just to use one example. And it's like A, B, C, D, E are the reasons. And then here's my solution, 1, 2, 3. Here's the cost of the solution, the effort to the solution. Here's what it would take. And like you present that. Now think, kind of like walk forward in that manager or executive psychology and look at what you've done. Let's say they do reject your idea. Okay. But now they look at you as someone who is organized and thoughtful, who can formulate an idea, somebody who has the visibility
Yeah.
to understand the business and to come up with a recommendation. You have a sense of urgency to show that you care enough to bring this to management and go through extra efforts, right? You show the confidence and courage to approach a manager or an executive with something, with some problems and also solutions, right? So you look proactive, you look like you care, you look like you have a sense of urgency, you look like a hard worker. So does it really matter if the bill, oh, by the way, check this out. if the risk doesn't happen the way you saw it, that's okay. At least they had more information. But if the risk does happen and they ignored it, then you'll be proven right. So explain to me how your invisibility matters at all to your career.
Yeah.
You're a hero. And the thing is, like, if you have a pattern of that, then guess what? You now are a hero pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, argue against that one. Somebody try to argue.
Well, all of that is with incredible hindsight. In the moment, it's very frustrating, especially if it's affecting your daily work and it's causing you more stress, because if your boss would just fix this solution, then I wouldn't be the one feeling it. And so,
and just
sure, 6 months or a year down the road, but.
Well, and the thing is, I'm just trying to help people who might be in the moment on that. So
Yeah.
you can kind of look at it a little bit with a little bit less fears and a little bit more faith, and help them look down the road. So, if you make a difference, it's never wasted. In fact, Proverbs says all hard work brings a profit. You're like, how is that possible? All hard work brings a profit? Well, we just showed you an example, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Even if you don't, and again, we just wrapped up a series on sowing and reaping. So even if you don't reap in that moment, doesn't mean that's you can't not reap something from that seed that you sowed. So if you, again, just your analogy is just so funny to me, just because there's a 0% chance that I would ever type up anything like that and take it, just because that's not it. And so it would make me, in that scenario, if I did what you said, if I wrote a 1-page summary and put all these bullet points and all this, and you didn't take I would probably quit on the spot, with the amount of hurt I would just wear.
Yeah, but you remember at my last company what I did, because I've told you the story 5 times now, which is I spent weeks, probably 2.5 weeks, maybe 3, just for fun, let's say 2 to 2.5 weeks of nights and weekends times, knowing the personality of the people that I was dealing with would probably not listen to my advice.
Yeah.
And they didn't. And guess what? I got a little bit of education for myself. And also some of the people that I worked with, definitely have a lot of respect for me and all that stuff. So, but even if they didn't, I still have the education. So, I mean, I know with your personality, you'd rather just spitball and talk to them. But even with your personality, you can do a half a page. I mean, that's 15 minutes of work, or 12 minutes.
Yeah. Oh man.
I know.
I'll just tell you right now, of probably almost 20 years of working history, I've never done that. And it's never even crossed my mind to do that. Now, I'm not saying I love your idea, and I think everybody should do your idea. But I'm just saying that if I actually did your idea and you did not take it immediately,
you'd be so much more hurt because you invested. Yeah.
Oh man, no,
I respect that.
I would burn the house down. Like I would go make the problem more.
What would you say that? But you're also talking from the unhealthy.
Yeah.
What does a healthy 8 do in that case?
I would just go fix the problem. I would.
You'd actually just go tackle it. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't wait for you. I would say I gave you the opportunity to do this. Now I'm just going to go do it because it has to be done. And I'm the advocating for you, and you don't know it. So I'm going to go do it. Which is probably what I would do. Is I would go tell you one time, if you didn't realize that the fact that I'm even bringing this to you shows you how important it is, because I'm bringing it to you. Like that's where, like, knowing me as an individual, if I'm bringing this to you, I'm telling you we're having this conversation means that I value you and the position. And so take initiative right now, because this is your opportunity. And that's where, again, I can lack communication skills, because it's like, we're having a conversation. You should understand the value, because I would normally just go do this and not tell you about it.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, you would find out, hey, this problem was averted because it just got handled, and we're now moved on. But so.
Well, and the reason why, just because I might have had an approach of preparation in that particular case. Doesn't mean that I always do it. Doesn't mean that I always do it either. I mean,
no, I would love the way you do it. I would much rather operate in that capacity.
Yeah, but when I don't, I end up in that case where probably the reason why my approach has evolved is that's my awkward social timing on situations is probably improved if I prepare, because then it's like I give them a heads up that we're going to have this conversation about this pain point. I'm going to present you some information. I need about 15 minutes. I'm going to have this agenda versus, and I've already talked to 3 other people who agree with it, versus like we're talking in the hall and I'm hitting you out of the blue with this pain point and 3 ideas. And like, that's probably more my tendency.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling everybody on this podcast is probably more aspirational.
Yeah.
Now I know you've seen some serious preparation work on a few things from me, so it's probably not that I never do the 1-pager or whatever. But yeah, it's in my heart, probably when I'm healthier, to be more prepared for sure.
Yeah, Howie, there's a reason I'm a small business owner. It's because that, my personality doesn't fit in the large corporate environment, So,
I don't know about that, but okay.
I'm just saying there's a reason why, I can pop in, but I need to be out, just because
I'm glad that you
I'm self-aware.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you have that opportunity, but I also I wouldn't sell yourself short either. I mean, you have a lot of value that would be critical to organizations as well. But no, I mean, that's cool that you certainly have the liberty in this way. So so visibility. So what else should we cover on this topic? Because it feels like the corporate visibility, I don't agree with the topic as much, because a corporation's job with marketing and advertising and social and everything and PR actually is visibility. Like, that does need to be a priority. So I'm not sure I would necessarily elevate this to a corporate level more than I would the human interaction and the self-management, the management of oneself in career and business, and sort of like how visibility or not having visibility impacts people and all that.
Yeah, but you can even go, so if you want to go to the big corporate level and talk about visibility, one of the big things I hate, and I don't watch a lot of TV, I don't even own a television, but if I watch a commercial and the entire commercial is just being slammed with your logo and this, that, and the other, it bothers me, because it's like, can you make it about me, the consumer? Can you make it about me wanting to get you and just subtly, put yourself in there? Those commercials are the best ones to me, where they don't even, I don't even have to say my business name. I don't have to say it. You can just tell by the flavor. And so in that aspect, to me, is another aspect of invisibility, visibility. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting, and it kind of inspired a whole train of thought about sort of like,
I mean, Dove did that.
Value-based advertising, honestly.
Yeah, Dove did that, I think, almost 15 years ago now. Maybe it wasn't quite that long. But where they had a huge shift. And I heard about this from another marketing professional probably a couple of years ago. But again, it's all relevant. So Dove used to have commercials that were just like Dove, 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 and it's just their logo and their soap and blood, whatever. Now, if you go watch a Dove commercial, all it is about, and generally women who are comfortable in their skin, and doesn't matter what it is. I mean, there's no like supermodels. It's just normal, what you would call normal people, young, old, all different spectrums. Just, it's all about just being you. And Dove is cool for you, and
that is cool.
And so, whereas, you get some brands or things like that where it's, if their logo is not on there 45 times and things like that, then there's an issue.
Yeah. It's interesting. We've talked a little bit about this idea of social and building brands and all these things. We've talked about adding value first and some of those things. It'd be so cool to just have Dove or a soap company or a lotion company do a campaign. It's like, here's education about your skin, and it's like, hey, hope this helps.
Man, it would be my number one if I ever got a hold of somebody like that. That's all I would have them do, is just give some serious value on really benefits. And who cares if you use our stuff or don't.
The problem is that there's some kind of irresponsible products out there. Like if you drink actual Pepsi, not Diet Pepsi, it's like a loaf of bread. Like a lot of unhealthy. Or like Coke. So it's hard, like in certain products, or like cigarettes, like that might be hard to have some kind of value. But let's if we take to your typical products, there's usually value. For example, if you had, this is really off topic, but you just kind of inspired it, and it's really cool. So I'll run with it for a couple seconds.
Let's just go back real quick. I think that if Coca-Cola ran a thing that said how, just like, not how bad Coke is,
how you can get fat by drinking.
No, how valuable water is. Drink water. It's valuable. You need water. No, Coca-Cola makes their own brand of water too.
That's Dasani. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And so they could sit there and go all just heavy, like, you need water. You need 8 glasses of water for every 1 Coke you drink. Yeah. People are still going to buy their Coke, but now they're just buying, 8 times more water, and they're going to buy your brand because you're the one bringing the value to them. And so again, they're not going to stop doing whatever negative it is, but again, you just swayed them and provide the value of, hey, everybody likes their whatever it is, their coffee, their Coke, whatever, but you need this, and here's why. And so every time you drink one of these, be sure to have 8 of these. And you know what? I would put a competitor up there. That's what I would do, because they're still going to go buy it. They can't help but buy it from you.
Huh. Interesting. I like it. I think that's, truthful, value-based, inspirational. Right now, it's like all I get out of a Coca-Cola commercial is a country song or a hip hop song, and like all these people smiling, or polar bears at Christmas time. It's like not a lot of value there. So maybe some of that's okay, but I sure would love to see a mix of more value.
Yeah.
In advertising for sure.
Yeah.
Doesn't really tie back great to our invisibility thing, but that's okay.
It does because again,
it's like another good topic.
They're not. Yeah, and again, they're going to be more probably in like next week's when we talk heavy on visibility. But that's what it is. If you're comfortable with being invisible, if you're comfortable with your logo and your brand being invisible, second to the functionality, to the value, then you would take it off, and you would just provide the value. Hey guys, I need you to understand the value of water. You got to have water, but whenever you've had your water, your reward should be a Coke. Reward yourself with a Coke, but go drink your.
And that I would be comfortable with, by the way.
You know what I'm saying?
Because honestly, 1 Coke a day is not going to probably get someone out of shape if they have a healthy lifestyle.
Well, if you increase your water,
by a lot, and you're exercising
by 64 ounces or gallon.
Yeah, I like that.
Then
you're making me thirsty, by the way. Like literally, this coffee is gone, and I need water now.
Well, it's just one of those things.
No, I love it. In fact, there's somebody on LinkedIn that sometimes says, "Drink your water." Who is it? What's her name? She's a recruiter. Oh, come on. I was trying to give her credit. Anyway, she talks about drink your water. It's like totally valid. Yeah. Totally valid. But I think that's really good. And so I like this topic overall. I think people feel invisible, and I would personally love to have a conversation with somebody who feels invisible. We could even bring them on here and just talk about what have they tried so far? Why do they want to be visible? Have they added some value?
Yeah. What have you tried?
What have you tried?
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to hear the different ways individuals or businesses feel invisible. Now, I talked to a lady. This will be my wrap up. That'll be my last comment. I talked to a lady who said that she felt invisible because her customers weren't responding, right? And my response was, your messaging is talking to the wrong people. That's why you feel invisible. It's not that you don't have a great product. It's not that your business isn't a great idea. It has nothing to do with that. It just means you're marketing and advertising to somebody who's never, ever, ever going to buy your product or service. And so you have to change that. And until you do, you're going to feel invisible because they're not going to respond. And it has nothing to do with your product or service. It has everything to do with who are you talking to?
Yeah, I think who's good. I think the timing. So I think the when topic is good. And having a patience, having a little bit of faith. Think about, Beastmode talks a lot, and I hope I do too, about kind of like leading, and Gary Vee does too, like jab, right hook, like adding value like many times before you even try to harvest that.
Feedback from our peers and subordinates in your case, but then also we need feedback from clients, something to let us know positive or negative.
Good point.
But all of this is wrapped in the package of we need growth.